Across the state of Indiana, citizens of rural farming communities continue to voice their concerns against proposed solar projects. In Decatur County, landowners, business owners, and community members actively oppose industrial solar and wind arrays in fear of losing prime agricultural farmland. My name is Kenzie Ogden, and today I'm joined by Jessica Harmeyer.
Hello.
Jessica is one of the community members behind the Decatur County Citizens Stop Industrial Solar and Wind movement. You may recognize the group's yellow yard signs posted throughout Decatur County, but what stands out to me is how people from all over the county have continued to come together to draw attention to this issue. Jessica, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Kenzie.
Yeah, would you start by telling us a little bit about how this group got started?
Yeah. Well, you nailed it from the beginning that we are just a group of local neighbors, friends, landowners, farmers, families, and we all live and work in Decatur County. So we just all realized that we had the same opinion and we opposed industrial solar that's going on our prime farm ground. So instead of just talking about it, we decided, let's do something about it.
Yeah, and it's really been incredible. I mean, the signs are everywhere, so you guys are definitely making an impact.
They are doing a great job spreading awareness.
My hope is today we can add a little bit of clarity as to what you guys do, because some people are like, well, what is it?
I know.
So there are 2 solar projects proposed in Decatur County. For those who may not know, would you mind giving a brief description of what those are?
Yeah. So the first one that we're mainly talking about today and that's going to be voted on is the upcoming project through RWE. That's the solar company that's doing this right now. And the proposed acreage is 1,900 acres. It's in the north part of the county, so North Decatur area, we'll say. And there's a second one. It's not an official application. So, it's still in the works, but the solar company, Cobia, they have approached farmers south of town, so the Bernie area, and they are seeking 4,500 acres. So that could be one upcoming. Of course, if this passes on the 1,900 acres, then we look to the south.
That's definitely not a small chunk of land.
It's a big
on
chunk of
either
land.
one of those.
It is.
So why should people care? Why should people be concerned about these project proposals?
Yeah. So the one thing I'll say is that I'm really proud of our group. We have really tried to take the emotion out of it. Of course, it's there, and that's what's driving us, right, to show up to these meetings. But we stick to the facts, and we do a lot of research. And what we've come to find out is, first of all, the obvious, we're losing our prime farm ground. Our group, we are not against solar, but we're against solar on prime farm ground. There's better places for it. Let's try harder to find better locations of ground that's not being utilized to its full capacity. But then the other thing is that the panels themselves, they're going to be constructed and up for 35 to 40 years. That's the projected lifetime of these panels. That's a really long time. It's going to also have a direct effect on all of our neighbors, right? If you get a solar panel put up in your property or next to your property, your property values are going to go down, as well as the noise, the visual, and the aesthetic obstructions you're going to see, right? One thing that we have found out too is the energy, it doesn't stay locally here in Decatur County, so let's make sure that's known. The energy produced, it's not just staying here locally. But there's also going to be a cumulative economic loss of our local and regional sale, like ag products, right? So seed sales, chemicals, fertilizer, to name a few. And ultimately, it'll decrease our local grain supply here locally in Decatur County, and that's going to result in higher feed prices to our livestock producers. So that's never a good thing either. But the last thing I'll end with is our youth. We can't forget about our youth. Approving this project is removing a future for our youth who are pursuing an ag degree. Those kids that are looking to come back and start a family here locally in Decatur County and pursue a career in ag. Less acres, less ag opportunities, right? So our youth today will be the ones that are going to be still around dealing with the repercussions. And the decision we make tonight, they're going to be stuck dealing with it.
Yeah, and I think you put it perfectly. The decision is not just one that affects us a year from now. It is more long-term and the people that will be living here in years to come.
Yeah, exactly.
And I had a chance to look over one of the group's flyers, And on the flyer, the legal representation and mentioning ways to donate towards the legal fees, it caught my attention. And I know we had spoke a little bit about the various ways there is to donate. Do you want to touch on that and
I do.
why people may want to donate? What does
Yeah.
that go towards?
So that's a really good question, and I'm glad you brought it up because I want people to have confidence behind where the heck their money's going, right? So there are three ways you can pay for those who maybe don't want to donate publicly and kind of be anonymous. Well, you can write a check directly to our attorney. We didn't talk about it, but our group had to hire an attorney to do this legally, and that's pretty expensive. Just to even hire someone, they have to have a lot of money up front. But you can also pay online. There's a link directly to the attorney's website. But for those local, we opened up a checking account at Napoleon. And on all of our flyers that you guys will see linked on this is the account number, and you can reference the name of our entity that we go by. But really, the money is going to go to continue funding the stuff that you've already been seeing because everything you see today, we have dug deep in our own pockets and funded it because it had to happen. The flyers, the mailers, the signs that you talked about seeing around town. We have T-shirts. We hope you see them that night when we all wear our yellow. But all of those have been funded, and we hope to continue fighting that with more donations.
Yeah, and I know you just mentioned the wearing your yellow. So one way for citizens to have their voices heard is through the upcoming Board of Zoning Appeals voting. That is happening on Wednesday, June 5th at 6:30 p.m. at the Greensburg High School auditorium. Jessica, is there anything that people should know before attending that meeting?
Absolutely. So, first of all, it's open to the public, and you don't have to do anything but just show up. And if you do show up, wear your yellow. First of all, we've talked about that. But second of all, everybody has a right to speak, and I don't know that everyone knows that. So, at this meeting, yes, it's at a different location because they're expecting such a large crowd. That's the reason for the location change. But if you do want to speak, and you don't have to be part of a group. You can just be someone who has true concerns. And the only thing I would ask you to do is be proactive, call area planning, let them know that you want to speak. They would like to put you on a list so they're prepared for how many people to expect and how long this is going to take. But at the end of the day, you don't have to do anything other than show up, wear a yellow shirt. We're hoping to pass some out too for people that didn't plan or forgot, which again takes some money, right? But we plan to pass some things out and just wear your yellow so the board can look out into that crowd and know who's against it and who's not.
But before that voting, there is an upcoming fundraiser that I know you guys spoke on
There
tonight. Do you
is.
have any details on that?
Everything's happening so fast. So we did decide to do a fundraiser night. Check back on either Hillbilly Corners Facebook page or our Decatur County Solar page. But Robin over at Hillbilly, she has graciously donated her facility, and her shop is where we're going to house a very non-formal, fun, just educational night. We think it's going to be on Wednesday, next Wednesday, but we'll get the details hashed out. And it's just going to be a place for you to come and ask questions, learn. We'll have all of our facts up of what we have found. And it's open to people who are for it too, because our group is continuing to learn and educate ourselves. If you guys have done the work and you have facts for us, please come and share.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jessica, for taking
My
the time to join
pleasure.
me.
Thanks, Kenzie.
Yeah, and again, for those wanting to voice their concerns, all you have to do is show up. That is the BZA meeting on June 5th at 6:30 p.m. at the Greensburg High School auditorium. I'm Kenzie Ogden, 812now.com.